केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Nithyanandam. So, welcome you all again for this second session of the Kattumoorthi Alankaram series. So, in today's session, we are going to be looking into the deeper parts of the foundation class. So, like yesterday, let me rewind what we were learning yesterday. Yesterday, we were learning about what is alankaram, what is Kattumoorthi alankaram, and why do we do Kattumoorthi alankaram. And then we went into the steps of how do we do the Kattumoorthi alankaram, starting with the tying of the sticks, and then we went on towards enlarging the chest, and then we went on towards tying the hands, looking at how do we make the hands fix in a posture. So today we will be looking into the next part of the foundation class. So what is the next part of a foundation class? Now we have seen how do we tie and fix a hand for the deity, and now we will be looking into how do we fix a leg, how do we fix the legs for a sitting posture. For example, if Swamiji is sitting in Sukhasana or Ardha Padmasana or Padmasana, how do we make the legs look like he is sitting? So that will be today's class. So I hope all of you were able to finish yesterday's classwork, where you are all supposed to take 5 photos of Swamiji's alankarams and post it in your Facebook with the 5 specific postures. So let's move into the class. Thank you. Okay, so now you're ready and can move into the class. So now before we tie the legs for Swamiji in the sitting posture, we would need to create a base where we give a base so that it looks like Swamiji's Murti is sitting on something. For example, if we sit, it looks like we sit on a couch or sit on an asanam or sit on a chair or stuff like that. So for the Kattumurti, what do we use for making the base? There are various methods and various items used by different types of people and in different temples for making the base. Some make a ready-made sponge setup, or some make a kind of a kavacham, a metal piece which looks like a flower design, on which they would just fit it and it would look like the deity is sitting on that. So what we usually do is we use pillows. We use fresh pillows, means pillows that are not used by any humans. We use those pillows and we give the base for the murti to have the sitting look. So usually for this size murti, we would use 2 to 3 pillows. So let's get into that. So always you will need to take the first pillow, and the first pillow, for example, this is a pillow, right? So now we take the pillow which is horizontal and we make it vertical, okay? And then we fold this pillow in half, okay? It doesn't need to be a complete half. You can see it's not completely half. It is almost 1/4 is left in the first half, right? So now we put it here, exactly where, just below the cloth, below the chest cloth, we are putting it here, okay? And then we have to secure it with the rope. And as I was telling, there are various different ways you can make the base for the deity. For example, in the Tirumala temple, in the Venkateshwara Tirumala temple, they have a ready-made setup for all their Kattumoorthis. They would only just fit the kavacham, the golden pitam piece in the front, and they have the sponge and the entire leg, everything is set up in a ready-made posture. But why are we doing this? Why do we follow making everything from the scratches? So that when we learn, we need to always do it from the scratch. We can't be having ready-made for learning purposes, because if you won't be able to learn how to do things from scratch. Only if you learn to do things from scratch, if at all you are in a place where you need to do Kattumoorthi and you don't have the ready-made items, you will be able to create it from scratch. That is why we are learning it from scratch. And then we get on to taking two pillows. We always use extra two pillows, okay? So, and we have them horizontally and we keep them in the front of the other pillow that we already tied. Okay, and there is a very easy method of tying this. Okay, so have it, and then you tie it across fully. All right, there we go. So we have the base ready right now. So next, what do we do? So next, we take a stick, okay, another bamboo stick, which is to the length of approximately to the length of this pillow, and we put it on top. I will tell you why we do that, but let's get it. So we have the stick, and the stick should be here. Why do we keep a stick? So when we keep the legs, when we keep the Kattumoorthi legs for the deity, always it is a tendency that the legs, you should understand that the legs do not have bones. We have bones, and these bones help support the leg in its shape, but these legs do not have bones. So what do we give? What is the firmness and the strength that we are giving it to the legs is the stick. This stick will make the legs stand where they are supposed to be and not sag off or fall off. So we keep the stick, and then we get on to tying the legs. So I have already two leg, okay, this is how we have the legs, okay. So already, as I was telling you in yesterday's class, there is a copper rod inside. This full length is a copper rod, and we have already rotated the cloth to the shape that we require. So always remember that the legs are always twice or 2.5 times the proportion of a hand. If the hand is this thin, the legs will be double the size or triple. Not triple, 2.5 maximum. So now we get on to fixing the leg pieces. See, we already have leg pieces also with the two ropes that we need to tie them onto. And once we secure the legs in, we can start tying the legs up. Here we go, we have the leg, and we are going to now fasten the ropes onto it. And now the other side, fasten the ropes. Okay, now we have the legs with the rope ready. Now what do we do is, we take the leg, we have the leg ready, and we put it in. So you can see it's already sitting in well. Okay, and then you tie the legs. Okay, and you tie the legs up. And so we have the legs. Okay, now what do we need to do is, if you see the legs, the proportion of a leg, it starts a very small proportion and it moves towards a larger proportion, and it's supposed to come thicker towards the thighs. From the knees to the thighs, the whole thigh has to be thicker. So what do we do for that is, we take another cloth, another sari, and we have to rotate it around again before we put the legs on to today. So here I have a sari, an old sari. Okay, and I start rotating it. And here we go. And as I was telling you yesterday, when you always tie it tightly, always rotate the cloth very tightly so that you have a grip and your leg is stiff as a human's leg would be, right? So then you go up and go higher. Okay, and once you've come to a certain height, you can actually come back down, because as I was telling you, the thighs need to be thicker, much more thicker than the calf muscles. Okay, and there we go, another rotating, and again bring it back. Has to be really thick. And there we go. We are done with the first leg. The extra cloth, as usual, you can leave it back. Now, here we have the right leg, because as you can see, this is the right toe, so this is the right leg. So right leg comes here, and as I was telling you, we are going to do a Sukhasana. So this is called the triangle formula. How we tie the legs is the triangle formula. So you take the leg, okay, can you see it's like a V? Can you see the V here? So we have to bring that V here. Okay, and what we need to do is, we need to bend it in more. Okay, and then we leave it here. So when you put one leg, obviously the other stick will rise. The other side of the stick will rise. But when you put the other leg down, for example, if the other leg is put now, it will again come down again, and here it will be raised. Okay, so here we go. And now we tie the stick. We tie the legs actually. We have a rope here. I'm going to tear into. And now we have a rope. Now what we need to do is, first thing is, you need to ensure that you are tying the thigh part of it to the waist of the deity. So this is the waist of the deity, and this is the thigh, the end of the thigh. So you have to tie it together. And do not tie the rope onto the waist cloth. For example, do not do this. Do not do this. As again I was telling you yesterday, this will make the shape go out of proportion. So what do you need to do is, you need to lift the last cloth, okay, and you need to tie it under. So lift it up like this and then tie it under. I hope you're able to see. Then if you leave the cloth on top, it will be good. So then tie the thighs with the body of the deity, of the original body of the deity, and tie it tightly. Do not tie it loosely, tie it tightly in a shoelace knot so that you can remove and use the same rope for later. Now is the next part of it, where when you see humans sitting, there is, people do not sit gracefully all the time. People sit very casually, and it's always a very laid back posture for normal people. But in the case of deities and the Agama scriptures, the forms of deities are always described as very graceful and very majestic postures. So even if a deity is sitting, they won't be sitting in a very casual, laid back posture. They would be sitting very royally, very majestically, and very gracefully. So how do we bring that effect? So when a normal person sits, their thighs are closer to the waist. For example, their kneecap, their knees are closer to the waist. Now, if you are sitting in a very elegant posture, for example, if you are done with a puja and you are sitting in the Kundalini Dhyan that Swamiji is giving, when your back is erect and when you are sitting in the Padmasana, you will feel that your legs will not be like this. Your legs will be like this. It will be more outwards. You should understand, your leg was here earlier, now it is coming more outwards and inside. More outside and now inside. Okay, so more towards your right and then inside to make it more precise. Now when you do that, you get a triangle effect here. Exactly here, you will get a triangle effect from the waist to the knees, back to the ankles, and then back to the thigh and the waist connection point, the joint point. You will get a triangle, a proper triangle. So when you get that triangle, that means you have done it correctly. And now, how do we tie this part? See, we can't leave the leg just to be sitting there. It won't sit. It will move back. Its tendency is to move back, but we need to bring it here. So what do we do for that? Is we tie it back towards here. See, you do not tie it here. You tie it here. Okay. And here you tie and you take it under the thighs. Do not take it above the thighs. Take it under the thighs and tie it to the same rope with which you have tied the thighs to the waist. So you get a proper triangle effect. Now the leg will stand. It will not move. Now if you try to move, it won't go. It will stay. And you again get the triangle effect. This triangle effect. Now we will be doing the next other leg. And there are various sitting postures of deities that we can find. It's not just that always we need to only sit in Sukhasana or Padmasana, the same postures, but there are various postures that you can describe the scenery that is happening. For example, if it is the scenery of Devi worshipping Shiva, then of Devi worshipping Paramashiva, then you will have to make Devi look like she is in a very shy posture, or she is in a very prayerful posture. So how do we create that feeling? Then Devi won't be sitting like this. She won't surely be sitting in a Sukhasana or a Padmasana. She will be sitting in a very shy posture. So, but she'll be sitting. So sitting doesn't just mean that it is one posture where you sit with your both legs folded. It can mean many other postures too. Now as we are tying this, almost ready. And there you go. So then take the other leg out. Have it always ready with you. And You can see the other leg. I have it ready, and then you fix the left feet into this, and you tie it. Okay. If you want, you can have an assistant with you so that you are able to tie it well. But we do not have it. So you have the other leg, and again you need to thicken the thighs always. Okay, so you can see that this leg is going like this. It's going in the same shape, and here it's too thin, so you need to make it thicker. So take another sari. And as I was telling yesterday, please remember to use old saris so that you can maintain a very good usage of your old saris. The deities old saris. Do not use your old saris. Please do not use your old saris. They are not to be used for deities. And now you go on rotating. And do not expect that once you set a leg that it would be in the same position forever. You will always need to be redoing it. Whenever you do a Kattumoorthi, always remember that it is just temporary. Once you remove it, you should always be able to do it again whenever you need. Okay, so let me get into this. And there you go. You have come to the thigh now. Once you come to the thigh, you have to again rotate it twice or thrice. Okay, this is enough. Now go back down again. Come down again. Remember to do it tightly. Don't do it loosely. If you do it loosely, then unfortunately you will have to miss on the firmness and stiffness, which will again that will make it that you will have to redo the Kattumoorthi. Now we are ready with the leg, the other leg. So again the same rule, put it through. Yeah. Okay. And again tie it under the cloth. You can see we are tying it under the cloth again, and tie the other leg up. Okay, and now again bring it out towards the left and inside. Okay, and please remember to tie it. See, tying this point is not compulsory, but if you don't do it, what may happen is that if you are taking the deity on a procession, or if somebody by mistake taps the deity or hits the deity by accident, then the leg's position may change, and I'm sure we do not want that. So best to always tie. Remember, in please remember that in alankaram, the best thing to do is to always tie anything, whether it's the flowers or whether it's the sticks or whether it's the leg or the jewels or anything. Make sure you always tie it so that nothing falls down. So as I was telling you, both the sticks, if you can look very closely, both the sticks have come to an equal length. Now if I remove the stick, what will happen? Let's see. Legs will stand. But as I go on putting the flowers, this will start falling down. This will start falling down. And what will happen is, when you look from down, you won't be able to see the thighs. You will only be able to see up to the calf muscles to the knees. So when we give the support of the stick here, the thighs will will rise. The thighs will be higher. In that sense, the stick is needed. So this is what we have learned today of how do we make a basic Sukhasana posture for Swamiji sitting. For any deity, if you want to make them sit in Sukhasana or Padmasana, this is the best posture you can do, and it's a very easy way. Okay. So this is what we have learned in today's class, where we have learned how do we tie the legs of a deity, how do we tie the extra legs to a deity, to a standing deity, to make it look like the deity is sitting in Sukhasana or Padmasana. So on further classes from tomorrow, we will be looking into specific pictures and we will be replicating those pictures into the deity. So by doing that, it becomes a very easy method, where when we always start, as Swamiji has taught us, that when you use a reference picture and you follow that picture dicto, every single inch, when you follow according to that picture, then you will be able to grasp the science of Kattumoorthi, and within some time, if any picture is given to you, or you create a picture in your head of how you want it to be, you will be able to replicate it easily on the deity. It will just be a piece of cake for you. So this is what we have learned today. How do we make Swamiji sit in Sukhasana? So for today's classwork, for all the viewers, is that you go online and you find 5 different types of sitting postures of any deity. Let it be Shiva, Paramashiva, or Devi, or Vishnu, or Subramanya, Ganesha, Rama, Swamiji, any deity's picture, 5 different sitting postures. Now we have done the Sukhasana or the Ardha Padmasana, and you can go on to finding various different pictures. For example, we have the Tapas Kamakshi deity in Ekambareshwar temple in Kanchipuram, and that deity is sitting in an embracing posture with the Shivalinga. And for example, our Nithyanandeshwara, he is sitting with one leg hanging down and one leg folded. So these are various different postures that you can find, and any deity's 5 pictures, you name them with the posture that they are sitting in, and you will tag it with the Kattumoorthi Alankaram series and Kailasa. So I am reminding again, today's classwork is that you find 5 different sitting postures of any deity from any temple or any god, and you will post them in your Facebook with the name of that posture, tagging Kattumoorthi Alankaram series and tagging Kailasa. So with this, we come to the end of today's session, and I thank you all for joining us today and watching and learning this Kattumoorthi Alankaram series with us. Let's end with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Tatsat. Sarvam Bhagavat Sri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu. Om Nityan